Well, Marshall Kent is the top seed, taking a quiet moment before facing one of the best fields you'll see anytime on television, like Triple Crown winner and future Hall of Famer Chris Barnes, the explosive lefty Rhino Page making a return, Jesper Svensson, the two-handed lefty who destroys pins. Page looking for his first win in several years on the tour, but looming above them all is one man. Can anybody take out Jason Belmonte? We'll all find out together right now. Welcome inside the event center at the Grand Casino Hotel and Resort for the PBA Oklahoma Open. The 2017 edition promises to be spectacular. 5 of the absolute finest on the PBA Tour. And let's meet them right now with Dennis McCamery. Dennis?
From Gothenburg, Sweden, with 6 PBA Tour titles, Jesper Svensson! The number 4 seed with 18 PBA Tour titles from Double Oak, Texas, Chris Barnes. The number 3 seed from Orlando, Florida, with 4 PBA Tour titles, Rhino Page. The number 2 seed has 8 major titles from Orange, New South Wales, Australia, Jason Belmonte. The number 1 seed holds 3 PBA Tour titles from Yakima, Washington, Marshall Kent. Those are our competitors for today's Grand Casino Hotel and Resort PBA Oklahoma Open.
All right, Dennis, thank you very much. Yeah, we promised you a good show, and we think they're going to deliver. Hello again, everybody, along with the Hall of Famer Randy Peterson and Kimberly Pressler. I'm Dave Lamont. Yeah, that's spectacular back there, but we got to admit, there's that one guy sitting there that everybody's watching.
Yeah, you're talking about Jason Belmonte. You know, this guy lives vicariously through himself and is arguably the most intimidating player out here. And his game is already on point this season after capturing 2 majors. First, it was the Touring Players Championship, a little Barbasol on the face. And next it was the Masters, the USBC Masters.
Yeah, in that one, he really fought his way through a very difficult double elimination format to not only make the show, but of course capture yet another major. 2 of the 3 big February majors went home to Australia with Jason Belmonte. Now, this is the second day of stepladder competition because on Saturday, Jesper Svensson overcame Tom Smallwood, E.J. Tackett, and Thomas Larson to earn a spot on today's show, and his opponent, Chris Barnes. Hello, Jesper. Welcome to today's show. Rhino Page, the left-hander, trying to win a title for the first time in several years. Then Belmonte, and then Marshall Kent. He had a big responsibility picking the patterns for yesterday's show and for today's, and he's standing by with Kimberly.
Thank you, Dave. You guys mentioned that Marshall got to pick the pattern yesterday and today, and when we spoke yesterday, you said that you might stick with the bear, but you've changed it to the wolf. What changed for you?
You know, after watching yesterday's show and how ugly and nasty they got, it didn't become a shot maker's game anymore. It became more of a who can get the breaks and who can make their spares. So I picked today's pattern because I had a good look on it, and I'm going to make good shots and see what happens.
All right, thank you so much for your time today, Marshall, and good luck. And guys, he said that he had a good look on this pattern this week. In fact, he's being modest because he had the highest average out of everybody on the show today on this pattern.
Well, he's a modest fellow, Randy. He's a soft-spoken guy, but an unbelievable talent.
Well, it's a 32-foot wolf. It's the shortest of the named animal patterns. And, you know, one thing to mention, we talked Jason Belmonte, we talked him up in the Open, but if there is a weakness in his game, the kryptonite is the short oil pattern. This is the shortest one we have.
So Chris Barnes will start first on the left lane. So we got a righty-lefty matchup, so they each have their own traffic. They don't have to worry about anybody else. And we watched quite a bit of warm-ups. What did you learn in warm-up?
Well, the right-handers were telling me that they needed to try to create some hold down lane to keep up with the left-handers.
For the face and trouble early for Chris.
You know, it was interesting in talking with Marshall Kent yesterday why he chose to change the pattern, and he said, well, they got so bad on the right side that we didn't feel we would have any chance against the left-handers, and now it looks like it might be a little of the same.
Well, Chris will take the best he can out of that difficult start. Well, it was interesting to watch the few minutes after we went off the air yesterday. Marshall Kent went through a lot of consultation, and I think the guy who had the last word was E.J. Tackett. They're good buddies. He called Tackett. It was like the phone-a-friend lifeline. And Tackett's, I believe the quote was, "It got weird."
Yeah, that's exactly correct. He knew that EJ just got done bowling on that pattern and asked for his opinion.
Svensson, actually, you could see that 7 vibrate a touch. The ringer went all the way around, made a little contact, but not enough.
That wiggling was the concussion that his ball created when it went through the pins.
And Jesper has gone back to his native urethane.
Yeah, I'm not sure you'll see a faster ringing 7 ever.
He missed one of these yesterday and was pretty upset about it. As upset as he can get. He has a high rev rate but a low pulse rate.
That's great.
Now there's something all 5 of these players have in common. Every one of them has been Rookie of the Year, and 2 of them Player of the Year. And well, you got a break on that. That could have been much worse.
That shot went sideways when it came off the end of the pattern. Watch this down lane reaction. As hard as this guy throws it, but that 600 plus rev rate of his took over when it came off the end of that 32-foot wolf pattern.
So, 2 for 2 and single pins for Svensson. Barnes had an open in the leaving a 4-6-7 in the opening frame.
The middle part of the lane's hooking pretty good, and even though that's plastic, it still read it. About missed that 2-pin. Oh, he slipped.
And he'll get a Brooklyn break. That 6 is going to weeble and wobble, but it won't go down. But yeah, that was an awkward step there for Barnes.
Yeah, he actually slipped. His left foot almost came out from underneath him. He did a good job just to stay behind the foul line.
Almost caught a gigantic break.
Yep.
So it's been an adventure, to say the least, for the 18-time titleist in the first 2 frames. But you could turn out the lights in this building and he'd make that spare every time.
Well, it's just nice to see him bowling well again. He's finally feeling healthy, and
speed and direction was pretty good.
he feels like he's able to make shots.
Take a look at Chris's 85th career TV Finals appearance. Well, he had back surgery 20 months ago and wasn't feeling great before that, and then started bowling for 3 months after the surgery and didn't feel right for a while after that. I mean, he's just now getting back to where he feels at his best, or close to it. And there you see an example of what he can do.
3-time major champion. And he told us yesterday, he says, I'm able to do what I want to do. I'm able to use my tricks again. And it sure showed throughout the 4 different hole patterns that he bowled on this week to get here.
Jesper Svensson, 22 years old, 1 major, 6 titles. Teamed with Kyle Troop to win the Rolf Holman doubles in Maine this year. He hates this shot, and for good reason.
He missed right of target, and then he missed the head pin right. We saw a lot of that on this pattern during qualifying. Players missing the head pin, running away.
Well, he averaged over at Fire Lake, where qualifying took over, 233.75, and he chops. And suddenly, with Chris throwing the only strike of the match through 3 frames, Svensson is down by 3. We had 91 bowlers. Just about 30% of our field, by the way, international. And we had Wolf, Bear, Badger pattern. Then on the Oklahoma, they took the top 33. Svensson wide here and leaves behind makeable, but still difficult, 1-3-6-7. And again, the top 33 then on the Oklahoma oil pattern, which is very high scoring. The top 9, and yesterday out of the stepladder, Jesper Svensson won on a very difficult day to get to here. It's a big shot here early. Goodness.
Back-to-back opens.
The door is really open now for Chris, if he can double, but he's going to come off of a lane as Tim Mack will come in with some advice.
That was good.
No, obviously, you've got no right to double. Shape it that way.
Just trying to talk him into using a different ball. Look out.
Oh, look at he go Brooklyn. Boy, we're hitting some strange things, and we're not even halfway through this match.
Yeah, talk about ugly early. That's what we have.
Move one right there. I can carry that one, right?
And Chris will cover. So both, and he's still staring down that approach on the right side. We're in the second frame. He's stuck. Joining him today, the Barnes family. Linda Barnes in the middle there with sons Troy on the left, your left, and Ryan on the right, and made the drive this morning in from Texas.
I did an exhibition with Linda last year in Shreveport at an Air Force base.
Oh, nice.
And she's quite the lady. What an awesome person. We had a great time.
Go.
And he'll leave one behind. Yeah, and certainly one of the finest bowlers of all time.
Yeah.
Star in college, player of the year in the women's tour, and now that the revival of the women's tour is back, she's competing on that. Senior Team USA. So, yep.
Well, everybody loved her at the exhibition we did, and I'm not too sure there's many that don't like Linda Barnes.
No. Well, in a spare shooting competition, Chris will be tough to beat.
Wow.
If that's what it turns into.
Well, the good news for Jesper Svensson is he's only down by 14 after a really big mess, chopping the spare in the third and then the washout in the fourth.
That's right. Chris has only had the only strike of the match so far was Barnes in the third. Svensson has not struck yet.
See what he averaged over at Fire Lake.
There you go. Got a tap on the 7, and he could be off.
You know, it's amazing. It's the exact same pattern applied to a different set of lanes. And it's amazing just how different they can get. And we're talking just the most subtle differences with topography all of a sudden create a completely different scoring environment.
Marshall Kent, who picked this pattern, that was one of the perks of being the #1 seed. Picked the patterns for both shows. He did well in this. Then again, he did well on all of them. Big turn, big kick, and Svensson doubles. And he has put a little pressure back on the veteran Chris Barnes. So things may be picking up a little bit, sparked by a double from Jesper Svensson. Chris Barnes has found the left lane to his liking, but needs to get unstuck on the right if he's going to take down the Swede. That trophy will go to the winner. Maybe it'll be Jesper Svensson. Here's how we got to our extra frame with our extra frame tournament highlights.
Smallwood took care of Tom Doherty in our opening match with some pretty good scores.
Nobody knew that 232 was going to be the highest score of the day, however. Jesper Svensson moved on with a victory over Smallwood, and the scores begin to shrink, Randy.
Svensson started with throwing plastic with 500 sandpaper on it. Then he switches to urethane. In an ugly match against E.J. Tackett, he gets through.
And Thomas Larson had a very difficult time on that right side. Svensson was not spectacular, but he was steady. He averaged just about what he averaged on this pattern in the tournament to move on.
Way to go, baby. Way to go. Good job.
Well, the pattern changed, and you saw E.J. Tackett there briefly. He had a hand in that. And a conversation with Marshall Kent. We come back from the break. Chris Barnes now realizing his opponent may have figured this out. And so now it's up to him.
And I think the anticipation was that Wolf was going to play similar over here than it did over at Fire Lake, and that's not the case as we take a look at his arsenal. Inception DCT, Truth Honey Badger, and he's got the Booyah if needed.
Goes wider this time, and it pays off.
By the way, was there a Honey Badger sighting? I think there was. On that list.
On that list, there was. Absolutely.
Yeah. I just love saying that. Nice little break there, tripping the 7 late. You know the originator of the Honey Badger, don't you?
I do not.
Carolyn Dorn Ballard.
No way.
Yeah, I started calling her that about 5 years ago because she's so tenacious.
That she is.
It looks like Chris Barnes has changed balls on the left lane. I think he went to urethane on this lane.
That would be the Booyah.
Do right. Yes!
Wow, be right indeed. That's the best shot he's had.
Yeah, it was a great shot.
Do right. Yes! Yeah!
Still pumping his fist over that one.
There's some fire left in that gut.
There it is. And don't be confused by the cool demeanor of this young man. Oh, boy. Did not see that coming.
Maybe just a pinch soft. In any event, they look a little sensitive on the left side of the lane as well. I think Jesper bowls his absolute best, the straighter his bowling ball goes.
Well, we've talked frequently about, and he's using urethane today, if he masters the reactive resin that is popular, how difficult it will be to beat him. But he's so comfortable with urethane and so good. We'll take a look at his arsenal.
Yeah, 2. Pitch black, natural pearl. Natural pearl is a spare ball.
Well, let's keep it simple. Not a complicated game plan for Svensson. Take a look at the maximum scores. Snap into the pocket. The messenger slides right in front.
I think he just said, hey, nice carry in Swedish. Just go with that, Dave.
I'm not going to repeat it. I don't know what it is, and if I did, I couldn't repeat it. So,
Messenger got interrupted coming across. Nope.
That happened yesterday. That's exactly what happened yesterday. Now, he survived missing the single pin split yesterday. But this late in the match, all of a sudden he's down 27, and Chris Barnes is off of a double.
Barnes by 27.
Very Jesper Svensson-like performance thus far.
Now, the right lane's been a bit of a pest for the right-hander. Wow, what a clutch shot that was. He cranked up. Did he throw that a little harder?
Well, it was on a better line. He may have given it a little more heat, but he's trying to keep his hand up the back and kind of trap it in front of him. What that means is he doesn't want a lot of down lane reaction. The lanes are drying up, so you can see that end over end rotation and that very subtle reaction down lane.
Chris made 2 TV finals last year, 4th, and on this pattern, the PBA Wolf Open in Michigan, and in Japan he was 3rd. His first TV appearance, other than Team and the Chris Paul Invitational.
Let's see if this works again.
Go, go!
Wow. Well, 9 is good. This could have been 210, 2810. It just didn't pick up.
absolute scientist in this game.
Yeah.
The two of you started talking yesterday and started getting into more technical ends, and I was reaching for my Google Translate on my phone for bowling conversation. And it'll happen when you talk to Chris. Rhino Page awaits the winner, another left-hander, by the way.
Max score now for Jesper, 191. Chris Barnes needs any mark in the 10th frame to move on. And now he doesn't need that.
Wow. This is remarkable, because, and it shows to your point, Randy, about how things change when you move from building to building. You may put down the same oil, but Jesper Svensson averaged almost 234 on this pattern just a few miles away.
Yep. He had the second highest average on this Wolf pattern.
And let me ask you this, as we look ahead, this is kind of unusual. We have two left-handers in our top 5. So again, Chris Barnes has a side all to himself.
Right.
And now Rhino Page has to deal with what was left behind by Svensson. Is there an edge for either bowler there?
Well, I go back to the last shot Barnes threw in the 9th frame where he went light and left the 2-pin. So what's that going to do to him mentally? And then we really don't know what Rhino Page's ball reaction is going to be like, because him and Jesper couldn't be more different.
That's a good point. Rhino more the classic left-handed style, the one-hander. So Chris Barnes is going to move on up the stepladder. Jesper Svensson, who qualified yesterday, is out with a disappointing 149. And Chris probably experimenting just a little bit.
Peeling off of board 1. Wow.
That was no experiment.
Nope.
He was trying to see if it would get back from that spot, and it won't get back from there. He wasn't trying to throw it to the one board. He got it there.
He got it there, okay.
And he knows that he can't get it there. And I think that's why he tugged a couple early on.
Well, it will make no difference as to who wins.
Good luck, man. Sorry.
Coming up, Chris Barnes looking for title 19. Rhino Page looking for title number 5. Great crowd in the event center, the Grand Casino Resort and Hotel. PBA Oklahoma Open, match number 2 of our final stepladder. We had one yesterday, the semifinal stepladder, and now the stepladder continues with Chris Barnes having advanced over Jesper Svensson. Take on another left-hander, but a one-handed left-hander this time in Rhino Page, who's seeking his first singles title in a while, and he is standing by with Kimberly.
Thank you, guys. Rhino, you know, it's good to see you back in a final show. It's been a little while, but as of late, you've seemed reinvigorated. So what's been the difference for you?
I made some changes in my A game. I changed my ball roll up quite a bit and put a lot of work in, as well as looked at some layouts that I had in my bag and what was working, what wasn't, and just put everything together. It's all seeming to come together finally.
It definitely is. But when you and I spoke yesterday, you said that you tweaked your left leg the other day. How's it feeling? Give us an update.
It's a little bit tight right now, so if I'm limping around, it is what it is. But, you know, no pain, no gain. We'll get there.
All right. Thank you so much, and good luck to you. Guys?
Sounds a little nervous.
Kimberly? No, she doesn't sound nervous. No, I'm kidding. Well, you know what? Rhino has not won a singles title since 2009. He might be.
He sounded a little jittery in that interview, and we'll see if he can get through the first couple
Is that
of
my
shots.
phone that went off earlier?
Well, there is so much conversation going on in the time we were waiting for this match to start about bowling balls and what's going to be the right one to use. Really going to be interesting to see how this develops. We'll start with Page on the left lane. Oh. Went wide left and is left with a 7-9.
Well, when the ball won't hook from the outside part of the lane and the players are playing out, that's a recipe for low scores and a tough oil pattern. It's got to hook from that spot because there's nothing from the middle part of the lane.
Take a shot at it, and it'll be an open. But we'll remind you that Chris Barnes started with a 4.67 in the first frame of his match and went on to win.
Rhino just turned around and looked at his tour rep and said, adrenaline.
Well, I don't doubt there's some of that. I no question about it. Snap through and strike for Chris.
Yeah, and that's that heavy end-over-end roll of Barnes to get that ball to freeze right at the 1-3. Just keeps his hand up the back of it. The ball starts to come off the pattern and it just kind of stops right in front of the head pin.
Still throwing 16 pounds.
Still throwing 16 pounds, or as he likes to call it, man weight.
Yes. And he's waiting on that 16-pounder to come back.
So apparently he's going to use the same ball in both lanes now. He's going to ditch the urethane.
The PBA has an all-new line of officially licensed apparel and merchandise in the online store at PBA.com. The newest items, signature T-shirts and polos featuring Marshall Holman, our buddy. Other players in the series are Earl Anthony, Mark Roth, and Dick Weber. And wants to give a shout-out to Mark. I'm sure he's watching. Simply head to PBA.com and click on the Shop PBA link in the main menu and check out those new designs. Big right turn, soft 10-pin. A big left turn, pardon me.
I got one off of it, flat 10.
Well, it looks like the left lane has a hook spot outside for the right-handers. You see this ball gets out to about 2 and comes off of it. So that's a good sign for Chris Barnes.
So we'll see if Rhino with the adrenaline. He was, Kimberly asked about that leg. He was putting some salve on that leg in warm-ups earlier today. It's on his left leg around the calf. Take a look at Rhino's arsenal. Code red, ride, and pitch blue. He's going to use them both.
He's using pitch blue on the right lane and ride on the left lane.
Pretty smooth there.
So that tells me he's got a hook spot from out on the right lane, which would make sense that the right-handers don't. That's topography, in my opinion. And on the left lane, he needs a little bit stronger piece of equipment to get it to come off of the corner.
So now he switches equipment to go on this left lane, where he have the 7-9 split first time around.
Gosh. The compensatory move after the first shot of the match, Rhino pulls it and goes Brooklyn. You know, this guy's made a lot of changes he talked about with Kimberly as we take a look at this ball being inside of target. He went to inserts, using finger inserts for the very first time, but he's been bowling really well. He actually led the extra frame event that I covered in Wilmington, only to lose to Anthony Simonson.
Well, he said he was just disgusted with his game after Maine, where he bowled in the team competition, and he was really unhappy. So he just basically stripped it all down and went from 0 to build up to where he is now, and he says got a great deal of confidence. Well,
go ahead, Dave.
No, I said the look on his face tells it all.
Well, he's trying real hard to get it to come off of that 1-2 board, and it's real lazy on the right lane. The problem is if he misses too far left, it's runaway Brooklyn. So it's a pretty fine line that he's got to hit down there. Probably about the 2.5 to 4th board is all he's got to play with.
Now standing by with Kimberly is the bowler that Chris Barnes defeated in the opening match, Jesper Svensson. Kimberly?
Yes, thanks, Dave. Jesper, you know, Randy said it best, that this game was very uncharacteristic for you, especially since this week you actually had the second highest average out of all the players on this pattern. So what was it that you just couldn't find your rhythm out there?
I don't know, actually. If I would have known, I would try to make a lot of things different. But, you know, I just couldn't get any confidence going. And, yeah, I just couldn't make any good shots pretty much. And, yeah, then it's hard to beat one of the best bowlers in the planet.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Guys.
Thank you both very much. Jesper, safe travels to your next destination. Chris Barnes with a powerful strike on the left-hand lane. Page down 9 in the early going. Jason Belmonte awaits the winner, and then Marshall Kent sits at the top. Uh-oh. How do you recover?
You know, I think Rhino's just a little too jacked up, and he got up there and just overthrew that, got it a little bit to the right, and, or excuse me, a little bit to the left, and went right in. Just take a deep breath and try to somehow chill.
I have never heard a bowling center grow quieter. And he leaves a bucket behind, so just a brutal fourth frame for Page. Suddenly down 33, but there is still time.
Down 33 with a very suspect ball reaction. That'll make you start sweating like you have malaria.
Well, again, yeah, and you mentioned you thought he sounded a little nervous in the interview. It has been a while since he won a PBA team challenge in Las Vegas last year, but in singles, 2009 Viper Championship in Michigan was his last singles title, and he is a very, very accomplished player. There you go, mixes him up. That's all you can do.
He's got to try to somehow gather himself and scratch and claw his way back into this game.
It's also been a while since he's won a singles match on television, and that was when he won that Viper Championship. And he is 0 for his last 7 on television.
Steady Eddie all week. See his average on this pattern.
There we go. There we go.
Flat 10.
Yeah, a lot of friction caused that ball to burn up and hit flat. And he rolled this one pretty good. It had some heavy stuff on it, burned up, and then it was a flat 10.
Well, you mentioned Steady Eddie all week. Would you say he's one of the most versatile players in the game?
Yeah, he's a technician.
Uh-oh. Well, now, issue with the approach, whatever it was, he's going to let Rhino Page back into the match.
Do is make spares. All you have to do.
Did strike on this frame, excuse me, on this lane in the 4th frame. And he'll get it again.
Set and open. Golly.
It has been an interesting day out here. We have seen some unusual shots as these players struggle on this wolf pattern. Right now, it's the pattern at times that's claiming victory. We'll see who figures it out first when we return. And a challenging second match for both Rhino Page and Chris Barnes. Page down 21, both bowlers coming off of strikes. And yes, Page had a gutter ball in the 4th, but could still pull out this match. Oh my heavens, I thought that was a strike.
Really?
Well, that was right on the edge. and it comes roaring back, and this is a terrible break.
Six-pin failed to do its job.
Rhino could have cut the lead to 1.
The reaction of Commissioner Tom Clark in the back, he couldn't believe it either. So there's issues on the approach, and we learned something during the break. So what's happening there, Randy, I guess, is that when Chris throws a spare ball, oil is coming off that ball, and it's causing some issues on the approach.
This ball is actually hitting the approach before the lane.
Oh,
Good Lord.
well, I have never seen that before on television. Second channel ball there for Rhino. And again, looking down at the approach. Trying to make a spare out of this, and he will.
More than 6.
Which is what happened when he threw it in the channel before. There's Dad, Rick Page. And hiding in the back over there is Danielle McEwen, Marshall Kent's girlfriend. Incredibly accomplished bowler in her own right.
Timmy talking to Rhino Page about thinking about his tempo. Gets a little quick and then the ball fires to the left. Right now, Chris Barnes looking to take advantage of another opening.
Yeah, and he did.
Yeah, he's kind of figuring it out. Figuring out a way to shape his bowling ball off of the outside part of the lane.
So you see the maximum scores. We have not had anybody string together 3 in a row yet today.
We haven't had a 3-bagger? Yeah, we did. Chris had a 3-bagger in game 1.
Ah, thank you for that reminder. Seems so long ago.
Be right.
He's going to get another one. And moving closer to our first righty-righty confrontation against Jason Belmonte. Take a look at our Barbasol close shave of the day.
Well, you heard him yell, be right. This is a great shot and just catches enough of the 10-pin, does the 6. Yeah, thank you very much. And we have another 3-bagger.
And beautiful shot by Page on the right-hand lane. But he's running out of options.
Kirk, rack.
He'd like a fresh set of pins for this foundation. You have to wonder, Jason Belmonte watching this match, what he's thinking on the pattern that is the shortest and is a difficult one for him. But he is Jason Belmonte. He'll take it. It's going to be an X on the card. But it's just
Slip one, stick, slip, stick.
Approach issues for Rhino Page, and he's not making quality shots because of it. Now Chris Barnes working on 3 in a row. Can put an end to this. Another strike here.
Not much of a reaction from Chris on that strike.
I'll tell you what's getting better is his ball reaction. Starting to get comfortable. Ball reaction looks better. He has a great idea what it's going to do when it leaves his hand now.
Oh. Like that.
Okay.
I'm not sure the last time I've seen this many gutter balls on television.
Jason Belmonte would probably agree with you about that. And in the 10th frame, no less.
Needs 5. You keep it on the lane.
He did. He got 10. So we've seen 2 of the most unusual spares you'll ever see.
I think the Honey Badger's ready yet?
And he's asking if he has another ball available. But Chris Barnes has
More interesting
advanced.
than it needed to be.
Defeating Rhino Page. He's taken down 2 left-handers. Now he's got a two-handed right-hander in Jason Belmonte. What's he thinking about? Ball change, strike for Chris Barnes. Will that be his weapon of choice in a match against this man who's looking for yet another championship?
Thanks, guys. I am lane side with Jason Belmonte. So, Jason, Marshall has switched to the wolf pattern. So what type of challenges does this pattern pose for you?
Yeah, well, the shorter oil is certainly not necessarily my favorite. I like to see a little bit more oil a little further down the lane. So I'm going to have to keep my my focus really sharp, especially on my spares. With that higher rev rate, the ball tends to want to do a few tricks down the lane. So my goal is to not leave any, but if I do, I'm going to have to really take my time and make sure I execute really well.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time and good luck.
Thank you.
Guys, we're going to send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. This ought to be a lot of fun. And it's the first time that Chris Barnes will be sharing a side of the lane, which he had not had to worry about until now. 32 titles and 11 majors between these two.
It's going to be interesting to see what Belmonte chooses in terms of equipment and what his ball reaction is going to be like. Looks like he's going to use urethane. I think there's a big advantage for Chris Barnes, though, right now because he knows exactly what the lanes are giving him. He's got a couple of games under his belt and no nerves.
And that's going to go Brooklyn for Belmo, and he'll take it.
Question is, what does it do when he gets it right of that spot? Does it get back to the pocket, or does it go light? If it gets back to the pocket, he's fine. If it goes light, he's got no chance.
So you see Chris in the Wolf Open. This is the Wolf pattern. Finished 4th in 2016. We mentioned, of course, his talent on all patterns over his long career. And 10 back.
Well, no ball change for Chris thus far, and he's staying with his game plan, which is keeping his angles real straight and trapping it, meaning end over end roll and having that ball freeze right at the 1-3. You'd think it's quite the workout just wiping the oil down off of your ball. Think about doing that a few thousand times with a 16-pound ball throughout the course of a tournament.
That's why he calls it man weight. Boy, 10 in the pit this time. And look over to Linda, his wife.
Yeah, I'm sure Linda approved of this shot. The location's great, and so is the roll. You see how it stands up and then just kind of goes straight back? Mm-hmm. And that's the heavy end-over-end roll of Chris Barnes. That's what I'm talking about.
That I was going to say, was that the light hit you mentioned? Now he got a break there and has a very makeable 10-pin.
This is what I was referring to after his first shot. He gets it to the spot and it goes light and almost leaves the 2-8-10. That's a huge break. But the 10-pin is no bargain for the two-handers on this pattern because there's so much friction in the middle. We saw Jesper miss a 7-pin.
He did emphasize spare making in the interview with Kimberly just moments ago.
Now, it may just be a small move to the right for Jason on that right lane. He just doesn't know. He didn't know that just from the practice balls that he got. As you take a look at what he averaged on this pattern, 216 for the 8 games. So it may just be a board with his feet to the right, maybe a board right with his target.
Chris Barnes averaged 223 and a quarter on this pattern over at Fire Lake. Big snappy turn, but a 7-pin left behind.
He got that to the spot on the left lane, and it was real lazy off of it, and that's the urethane.
All right, so should he switch?
I don't know if he can keep reactive resin right of the head pin.
Okay.
He's really taking his time on his spares.
Well, you mentioned it. Chris Barnes appears to have a good look now, so you can't give anything away. And Rhino Page did give some things away in that match prior to this, including 2 balls in the gutter on first shots. And then Chris Barnes had a gutter ball in the 10th, but was able to come back and recover. By that point, he had just about had the match wrapped up. He's dialed in right now.
Yeah, he just needs to stay out of his own way. He's got the look. He knows what his ball is going to do when he executes. Stay out of your own way. Make shots. It's beautiful here. Obviously, the lower rev rate for Barnes allows him to use reactive resin in the same part of the lane where Belmonte has to throw urethane. The question is, urethane going down the lane carries oil down. Will it affect Chris Barnes' reaction moving forward?
He opens with a 4-bagger.
Another great shot by Chris Barnes and good pin carry. And he really wanted this one. Well, I'm just saying that based off his reaction.
I think you were very, very accurate with that. Jason Belmonte down early. This is the best start we've had, though, for our bowlers. We've had a couple of tentative matches in the beginning, but not this one. Pitch black for Belmo here with urethane. And he gets a snap in for 10 in the pit.
A little softer with the speed it looked like there. And boy, did that ball come off of the spot. Beautiful shot there. But he's going to need a few more of those to get back in this as Barnes got off to that quick start.
4th meeting between these two on television. Belmo with the edge. And standing by with Kimberly is Rhino Page. Kimberly.
Thanks, Dave. So, Rhino, you were forced to play on the edge, and it cost you. You got 2 gutter balls. What went wrong?
Yeah, I just never really got comfortable. Timing was a little bit off today. My leg bothering me, but, you know, stuff happens, and I'm so proud of the week. It was a great week, and looking forward to building on it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you both. Rhino, great bowling. And Jason Belmonte, great bowling.
Yeah, those are 2 pretty impressive shots after the first 3 that we saw. First time Barnes has really felt any heat all day, I would think. He's got to kind of look in his rearview mirror. It is Jason Belmonte.
I'm sure he expected it, though. I don't think that that's something he didn't think about.
That's a good one.
No, just a hair.
Boy, it looked pretty good, and then it just kind of checked a little harder than he wanted. Goes a little high, leaving the 4-pin. But the location I thought was perfect.
Takes care of that. It's been a clean game. We've had some odd things happen. Single pin spares missed by players, gutter balls. It's been unusual in this final. One match remaining, and that's Marshall Kent, the top seed. Powerful right-hander. Looking to add a second title this summer. Stalked the pins that time. Absolutely stalked them.
Beautiful shot.
Jason Belmonte started off on the wrong side. Chris Barnes has been on the right side so far in this match. He has the lead. So Jason Belmonte, 8 major championships. Chris Barnes, 3 major championships. Chris has a triple crown. Belmo has 2 majors this year. A staggering amount of talent on one match. He's figured it out.
Yeah, it's now all about execution as
Dad,
well
can
for
I take
him.
a re-rack, please?
And he'll get a re-rack. PBA's Extra Frame is your home for exclusive live coverage of the PBA, PBA 50, and PWBA tours. This month features live coverage of 8 different events, all 3 pro tours, plus the Teen Masters and the Proprietors Cup. Don't miss out on any of the action. Click on the Extra Frame link in the menu section of PBA.com and sign up for a yearly, monthly, or a 3-day subscription. Randy will drop by there from time to time. Marshall Holman pops in on Extra Frame along with the guys.
Love doing my Extra Frame work.
Yeah, those guys, Phil and
Jeff and Craig.
Craig are fantastic at what they do.
Really are.
Carry.
They did.
Yes! Right back in it. This guy, we talked about at the top of the show how intimidating. There is a rumor that he has a sandwich named after him on every continent. And right now, Jason Belmonte has tied up the match.
He's dropped 4 in a row. Chris Barnes has 5 strikes in 6 frames. Belmonte 5 and 7. It's on. It is still on.
Chris Barnes not easily intimidated. He's been here before. Been on this tour a long time. The future Hall of Famer says, yeah, well, that's all right. I'll keep striking with you.
He slid the 5 over into the 7 on that one. We're set up now for the kind of match you hope for when you get players of this caliber with their resumes together. Last time in the U.S., you got to go back 4 years for Chris in singles.
Go, go, go! Oh, yeah!
Isn't it nice when your ball listens to you? It's happened to you a few times.
Mine never listened.
Go, go, go! Oh, yeah!
We got a match. This is going to come down to execution if we can eliminate bad pin carry.
Messenger, yes, and it goes.
My, oh my. Well, that's probably the slowest messenger you'll ever see Jason Belmonte throw as he gets set to take another re-rack, but well, this couldn't have happened at a better time, huh? It's a little slow for him, that UPS.
Headpin had to travel a long way to get there.
See, now that looked like one of my messengers.
Hey, as long as they go down, right?
No, listen. His Jesper's way more impressive. You know, that's kind of it's like a 14-pounder messenger. And that's not funny when I'm throwing 16 pounds, okay?
On the left lane now. Uh-oh.
Oh, I thought that was good. Oh, I thought that was good.
All right, Randy, he's going to have to go after this. How do you do it?
Well, it was hard for me to see the reaction down lane, but it looked like it just came off the spot sideways. He's going to try to get his bowling ball over into the 3-6-10, throw the 3 over into the 4-7.
Going for it right here, and he misses it wide right. And it is time for our Hammer Tough Spare replay.
Well, he gave it a good try, but never caught the 3-pin. And a disastrous open frame. He loses a count as well, so it's almost like 2 opens in 1 frame.
And right in the foundation, too. So Chris Barnes now door wide open for him.
You talk about 2 opens in 1 frame. He went from shooting 230 to 210.
Well.
Oh, overwhelmed the 7-pin.
Chris Barnes executing beautifully right now. Looking up the scoreboard.
This is the Chris Barnes you're seeing, the 26th greatest player in PBA history back in that 2009 poll. A guy who 20 months ago underwent back surgery and never felt that he was coming all the way back until recently. I don't want to call his comeback complete, because only I'll let him judge that. But man, what a game for Chris. Defeating Jason Belmonte, who was keeping up with him uppercut for uppercut until that 9th frame.
His execution this game has been absolutely brilliant as he's looking at another ball before heading into the title match against Marshall Kent.
Well, like
that's
maybe
that's not going to help.
Not that one.
Yeah, I think that one's going back in the bag. It'll be Chris Barnes, and not likely the gold ball against #1 seed Marshall Kent. Barnes and Marshall Kent. Little difference in experience, little difference in titles won. Marshall Kent has yet to win a singles match on television. He does have titles in Saudi Arabia, in Las Vegas and team, and extra frame in Lubbock. Chris Barnes looking for number 19 in his first singles title in America in 4 years. Marshall Kent is standing by with Kimberly right now.
Thank you, Dave. So, Marshall, you had a chance to check out everybody bowling today. Are you still happy with your choice of the wolf pattern?
Yep, I absolutely am. So I'm just going to go out and make the best shots I can, and you know, whatever happens, happens.
And how are your nerves? You're going up against a potential Hall of Famer.
That's nothing I haven't done before. I'm just going to have fun with it.
All right. Well, good luck, and thank you so much for your time. Guys, we're going to send it back to you.
All right. Marshall Kent, thank you. Kimberly, as always, thank you. And there's Danielle McEwen, who just made the finals in Orlando herself, having a really talented bowler on the PWBA tour. We also saw her team with Marshall as part of the team competition in the New York City WTT Kingpins in the LL Bean PBA League.
Also sitting with her, A.J. Johnson, tour roommate to Marshall Kent. And Marshall looked fairly loose in that interview.
He did.
He looks confident.
I would think Chris Barnes should be loose at this point, too. Yeah. Climbing the ladder all the way to this position. And that'll loosen you up even more.
Well, he's got the blueprints. He's got the plans. It's right in front of him. He knows exactly what he has to do. It's just execution now. Chris Barnes is pretty good at executing.
Of course, his family on hand. Wife Linda, his sons Troy and Ryan are here, driving in from Texas this morning.
I think Marshall's going to curve it based on the ball he's just picked up and put in his hand.
I think Chris's mom is here also, Joy. See what Marshall does now in response.
Oh, he's going to curve it.
Oh, boy. He did. You weren't kidding.
Whoops. Didn't get it far enough to the right. Remember, I said at the beginning of the telecast just how dry they are in the middle part of the lane. You can see it right there.
And you can see the look on his face as well.
I'll tell you what, I mean, and this is just me personally, but I would feel much more comfortable attacking the lanes the way Chris Barnes is.
Well, you said it. The blueprint is there. Is that same blueprint the right one for Marshall?
I don't know.
He'll easily handle that. Standing by, Jason Belmonte, who was just defeated by Chris Barnes. He's with Kimberly.
Thank you, Dave. So, Jason, you pushed through in that. You had 5 strikes in a row, and then you had that open in the 9th. But I heard you say that you liked that shot. What went wrong?
Yeah, I did not like it. It wasn't the greatest shot in the world, but I thought it was probably good for at least 9. You know, I spoke to my ball rep, Timmy. He said it might have been just a pinch left. You know, on this 32-foot oil pattern, it's really difficult to control that back part of the lane. Chris bowled a phenomenal game to shoot. You know, I know he threw it in the gutter, but the game was over. So to shoot that high on this pattern, you know, Marshall's going to have to bowl fantastic to, you know, to keep up with him.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Cheers.
And a ball change on this left lane for Marshall. He's moved right. Oh.
And early trouble here for the native of Yakima, Washington.
It's so hard coming in as the #1 seed in a 1-game match and win. That's why if you look at the record, the #1 seeds have a losing record on television.
Going for it all right here. He won't get there. He'll take 3 out of 5. And early troubles here for Marshall Kent.
Well, the thing to do for Marshall is just go ahead and make a move off of that shot. I believe that is the better way to play them. It's a better way to attack this oil pattern. Chris Barnes has proven that today.
Power.
Yes.
From Chris Barnes. Goodness. And if he is able to hang on here, he will do something he hasn't done in 4 years, win in the United States. This is the 2013 Viper Championship.
Playing a similar part of the lane.
Boys, bringing trophy home.
This time they could help him carry it.
Yeah.
Since they're here. Right there, as a matter of fact. Like Chris requested a re-rack. He's been coming on, though. He's been bowling well this summer. Bowled well in some extra frame events. Made a finals. So his game is rounding in. And at age 47, to come back from back surgery and to get back to close, in his mind, close to his old form. Impressive.
Shim.
Uh-oh. Shim.
Middle of it.
It didn't shim.
Looks like the left lane's starting to go now, and the players are going to have to move a little bit left on it. But this is the first shot that Chris has been out of the pocket, with the exception of the gutter balls. And he pays for it. Big four, and Marshall Kent right back in it.
He'll take the medicine and head back over to the right lane when it's his turn again. So Marshall Kent has just seen that lead shrink from 23 to 13. That's Marshall's arsenal, and he's got the flame right now.
I'm guessing that's urethane. Yes.
Oh, he got there. Wow. I don't know who was yelling that, but that person was absolutely right.
That looked like urethane reaction there. Now let's see what kind of adjustment he makes on this lane. Oh, we just got confirmation on it. There you go. Looks like the left lane hooks a little bit more. A couple boards left from that. Should be fine.
And that's the shape you were looking for on that first frame from him?
Yeah, I think that's a much better way to go about this. I think it's suicidal to get way in and try to throw it into the gutter. It worked over at Fire Lake, but here in the arena, I don't think that's a good idea. That's left.
Sit.
Tapped out some potential trouble there, so a very makeable spare for Kent.
Right now, he's got to pull out all the stops and trust it to the right. And if it goes light, it goes light, but at least he trusts it that direction. This shot here, he did not trust to the right, and there's no way that ball is going to hold pocket.
So are we back to a spare shooting contest that we had in our first two matches, or a strike fest like Belmo versus Barnes?
I think that Chris is probably going to strike on the right lane, and then he's going to make an adjustment on the left lane, and if it works and he hits the pocket and carries, I think he'll go right back to where he was.
Well, something caught his eye off to his right. Could have been a spectator shuffling a little bit. There are bleachers over there to the player's right. As you see all the great bowlers do, when they get interrupted, they just go back to their routine.
Nothing like getting the stink eye from Chris Barnes.
Big snap in for 10 straight back. Are there finishers? Thomas Larson, E.J. Tackett, Tom Smallwood, Tom Doherty. You may have seen them bowled yesterday on our first of the two step-ladder finals live on ESPN. Stu Williams, Trey Ford III, 16 years old, finished 11th. Tom Barrett, Jason Sterner was around all the time. Tommy Jones, 16. The King, Wes Malott, retained his crown but did not make the show. Francois Lavoie, the U.S. Open champion right there. A.J. Johnson, who is here with us today. Walter Ray Williams, unbelievable, 21st, including a 300 game. And how about the legend Amleto Monticelli making the cut and finishing 32nd?
Amleto started the tournament with 129.
Better?
No, it's not. No, it's not. That left lane is a problem.
Well, it was a good shot. It's not a big enough move, obviously.
How much more can he move, though?
Well, I don't know if he moved at all, but he's going to have to.
So the left lane, after a strike in the first frame, looking at consecutive opens on this lane.
Marshall Kent takes the lead, sitting on the bench. Right now, Marshall's got to dig. You got to trust that ball to the right.
Well, the right lane for him, as you see, Kent has been in this position before. His fourth time as the top seed in the televised step-ladder finals. This lane, 9 spare, and then his only strike.
Oh, gosh.
Left again. I bet you he was thinking that was going to go Brooklyn, and it didn't.
Oh, come on, kid.
Brooklyn would have been the best possible outcome.
Yeah. He's looking at the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10 again.
Now he could make this. And he did! Yes!
Great split conversion for Marshall Kent. Right in the middle of the title match when he needed it most. He converts the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. And now he has to find a way to execute better on his first ball. Has yet to hit the pocket on this lane.
Beautiful. Perfection for Kent in the 6th.
Yeah, that was there. Yeah. I actually don't mind that shot did what it did because it didn't like talk about go Brooklyn. There's some hole there too. So I just got to make sure I get like if that's literally like a half board right of that, it sits there. Yeah.
Just make sure, it's, make sure the angle is right off your hand.
Yeah. Yes.
What'd you get out of that?
Just everything we've talked about in how he has to get it going to the right a little bit more, keep his hand up the back and get it rolling a little more end over end. Same thing Barnes has been doing all day.
Oh, goodness.
Maybe for him, and he'll be left with a 6-10.
Come on. That's terrible.
And now all of a sudden Barnes having execution issues.
Which have not really cropped up. Certainly not in the last match.
Although I thought the shot in the 5th frame was good.
Did he make it? Well, Chris with an uncharacteristic miss of a makeable fair. He's also missed a single pin. That didn't cost him. He seems to be bothered by something off to his right. Now, he has to move to the left lane, Randy, and it's not been pleasant.
This shot I thought was good.
And he'll take it.
It's starting right now. This is it. All the way through.
A little personal pep talk. He's still in the match.
Focus on what's going on here. Through the noise.
Yeah, it looked like he moved in a little bit more here, and you can tell just by the reaction. And that looks like it's a couple boards left at the arrows. Still going out to that same spot at 2 or 3 board. I like what he said to himself. Hey, forget about everything else. It starts right now.
No, neither player has doubled in this match.
He got it there.
And
it went
hung
60
out.
feet.
Well, I'm confused by that result because I agree with you. I thought the first look of that was going to be a smash in the pocket.
For me, watching urethane on that lane, if you get a little fast with it, it never hooks.
Well, he's made one very difficult. And let me fix one thing. Chris Barnes did double to open the match. Kent has not doubled.
So this is a bigger problem. Forget about the open frame in the 7th for Marshall. What about the next time he gets up on that lane?
Well, Chris Barnes finally figured the left lane out. That had been his pest. You see, Kent struck on this lane last time, the left. Still only 3 back, but now having to bounce back off of an open. Absolute pure power.
Oh, he's got a pretty good idea of the left lane, but he has no idea what's going on the right lane. He's going to need a little bit of help from Chris Barnes, and I'm not sure he's going to get it. I think Chris is probably feeling pretty good right now, heading into the 8th, 9th, and 10th frame.
Well, something has been bothering him on the right side, not just the lane, but something off to the right has caught his eye a couple of times. You have to block that out now. He won't block that out of his mind. A perfect shot when he had to have it.
Great shot. And now a big one coming up for the future Hall of Famer. Just beautiful. He's really executed nicely today. Just a couple loose ones, but I'll tell you what, I really liked what he said to himself coming off of the lanes after the shot in the 7th frame. Just talked himself right back into the ball game. He's smiling, he's feeling confident. I really like where he is right now mentally. Go take him out. Exactly what he just said.
Do the right thing. Oh! Yes!
And Chris is getting closer to something he hasn't done in the United States in 4 years, win a singles title on domestic soil. He did win in Japan in 2015. And at 47 years old, are we seeing a rejuvenated Chris Barnes?
Little love tap on the 10 for 3 in a row.
I mean, we've got players in this tour in their 50s who can compete at a high level.
Do the right thing. Oh! Yes!
It's not over yet.
No, it is not.
Marshall Kent can strike out for 196. I think to have any chance, he has to strike here.
He does. Beautiful shot on that right-hand lane. They've been giving him so much trouble. And all of a sudden, the strike fest starts, albeit a little bit tardy, but it's on again.
Well, Marshall strikes on this ball. Barnes will need a mark. If Marshall Kent doubles in the 10th, Chris Barnes will need to throw the first strike to win. Must strike again for Marshall Kent right here.
Kent looking for his first win in singles on television.
Nothing better than executing when you have to and making the shot. Right now, he needs to make 2 great ones.
Oh, he cut it!
Come on!
It'll get back on that lane. Urethane will get back on the left lane from out. It was a 2-4-8-10, that same spot on the right lane. Probably why Marshall chose to finish on this lane, but a nice little break there, catching the Wally, the light mixer. I look for this to be good.
Well, Chris Barnes on his last lane. Struck in the 8th. Danielle McEwen, a professional herself, having a hard time watching her boyfriend here. Just absolute rip city. Chris has done the math. He knows what he's going to have to do when he gets up in the 10th.
Great shot. Come on, one more.
No, Marshall, it was a great shot. The last 4 have been great shots when you needed it most. Trying to get off of the 0-6 Schneid. Marshall Kent has done his job. Now it's up to Chris Barnes. Just keep it on the lane and get some decent count.
He did. It's an 8. A 194 for Kent. A great finish.
Barnes needs the first hit.
Coming off the deck, Kent with a strong, strong finish.
Soften up.
So that's what Chris must do in order to win. Pretty simple. He knows it. We all know it. to get back in the winner's circle for his 19th tour title and perhaps relaunch himself. But also, Randy at age 47, how many more opportunities will he have? So many great young stars on the tour.
Well, right now, you wonder what, if anything, is going through Chris's mind. You've had 5 lead changes in this title match. It's been back and forth from the very start, but it's all going to come down to this one shot. This is taking a long time, and that's not good.
That's the second time that he has been distracted on that right lane by movement in the bleachers to his right.
I might be seeing a little everything too.
So you're right. There is a lot going through his mind right now, and he's got to catch and go back to what Randy has said repeatedly: execute, execute, execute. Let's have a little fun, he said. Must strike. Not going to happen. And look at this reaction from Marshall Kent. He wins it. His streak has come to an end. He is a winner in a title match on television, and a winner on television for the first time. The climb up the stepladder for Chris Barnes ends in the title match.
Well, this wasn't that bad, but I thought it took too long for Chris to get this shot out and get it off. He had a lot of distractions going on for that last shot in the 10th frame, and it's too bad it came down to that. He bowled so great all day long.
Good job. Good job.
You're a champion, Marshall Kent, for the 4th time on the PBA Tour. Marshall Kent holds up the championship trophy, defeating Chris Barnes here in Oklahoma.
Your waistline can